than yours. My world is different than yours. That's okay. You love me anyway. My world is different than yours. Our worlds together is ours. Our worlds together is ours. And that's okay to love that way. Our worlds together is ours. Our worlds together.
There's Walter James Cross, schizophrenia. My name is Walter James Cross, and I have schizophrenia. So I was sitting here the other day, and I take out all my friends, and I place them on the table in front of me, and I line them up like a lot of little soldiers. And I read the labels over and over. Chlorpromazine, perfenazine, olanzapine, benztropine, clonazepam, diazepam, lorazepam, amitriptyline, paroxetine. The zines, the teens, the pams, and the peens. The zines, the teens, the pams, and the peens. Chlorpromazine, perfenazine, olanzapine, benztropine, clonazepam, diazepam, lorazepam, amitriptyline, paroxetine.
Lorazepam, amitriptyline, chlorpromazine, phenazine, olanzapine,
Lithium carbonate too.
clonazepam, diazepam, lorazepam, amitriptyline.
And I'm thinking of taking the whole lot at once, just taking them all and choking them down. But I'm not sure what order to take them in. And the voice in my head is saying, stupid bugger, stupid bugger, stupid bugger. And I'm not sure, I'm a stupid bugger for doing this or for hesitating, for sitting there, for doing it or for not doing it. And I'm waiting for more. I'm waiting for a little guidance, a little help with this decision, but the voice just keeps going on. Stupid bugger, stupid bugger, stupid bugger. Like it can't think of anything worse to say. And I'm picking up each bottle, and I shake it, and they all make different sounds. Chick, 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 chick.
Stupid bugger.
Ping, 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 ping.
Stupid bugger.
And the voice is still saying, stupid bugger, stupid bugger, stupid bugger. And I'm saying to it now, I'm talking back now, and I'm saying, is that all you can say? Your vocabulary gone to shit? What's the matter? Surely you can do better than that. And this doesn't impress the voice one little bit. And it's still saying, stupid bugger, stupid bugger, stupid bugger. And it's starting to wear me down. I gotta admit that. It's one thing when another person says, you're a stupid bugger, but it's a whole other thing when your own brain is doing it. But then I'm thinking maybe it's just part of my brain doing it. Maybe it's just that Schwarzen back half of my brain doing it. And maybe if I hit it a few times, it would let up. So I'm looking around for something to hit it with, and the only thing within reach is this saucepan, this Teflon-coated plastic handle 2/4. So I pick it up carefully, and I get it ready. And the next time the voice says, "Stupid bugger," I swing the saucepan, and I bong the back of my head. And it says, "Stupid" again. So I go bong again. And it keeps saying "stupid." And I'm bonging it each time. Stupid, bong. Stupid, bong. Stupid, bong. And it's still saying "stupid bugger," and my head's getting a little sore. So this is not working. So I'm still sitting there a couple hours, reading these bottles carefully, looking at those labels over and over. Shoppers Drug Mart.
Stupid bugger.
Discount drugs.
Stupid.
Drugs are us. RX number 666543. APO lorazepam. May cause drowsiness. Use care operating heavy machinery. What is that? A knife and fork? And I'm thinking about all those crane operators out there popping their PAMs and teens and zines. And I'm wondering if there's a code on those labels. Somewhere on each of them in that tiny print that tells you what to do with your life. So I figure, and maybe I just got to get them lined up in the right order, and then I can crack the code. So I'm bearing down, and I'm reading these labels over and over. And I keep coming back to the part where it says, "Keep out of reach of children," in tiny print. So tiny, you would never see it unless you're studying it the way I'm studying it now. And if it's too small to read, then maybe it's an electromagnetic code, and it's zapping instructions on my retinas right this very minute. Are you reading that, voices? Are you reading that? And yesterday, the cops watching me, the drugstore, the doctors, my own personal pharmacist, Mr. Gurpreet Sangeet. Do you have your drug card, please, Mr. Cross? No, not really, not with me. You must have your drug card, Mr. Cross, every time. These are very expensive drugs. I know, but someone took it. It was stolen. It always seems to get stolen, Mr. Cross. Yeah. How do you know about that? Huh? How do you know about that? And I know. That's paranoid. But right then and there, Mr. Sangeet, he's part of the whole deal. The whole shitaroo, in like Flynn, in the thick of my thin things, in with the cops, the social workers, the little internet cameras, and The labels on the pill bottles. They're watching my every move. They're there. They're all around me. And I'm not getting anywhere here. I'm still sitting there, not taking all those pills. And it's very quiet now. It's very quiet. But I know, like my grade 11 teacher used to love to say, in fact, and I remember it like it was yesterday, like everything that happened since then is a dream. Anyway, he used to say, Mr. Edmondson used to say, nature abhors a vacuum. He'd say, nature abhors a vacuum. Hey, man, that's all right with us. Nature don't have to like anything nature don't want to like. Nature's calling the shots as far as I can see. And so the voice will soon be back, and he'll bring a friend or two, and they'll roost back there in the schwatzen half of my brain, and mutter and whisper and shout at one another and whisper and mutter and whisper and mutter and mutter and whisper.
Abhors a vacuum.
Paranoia can be very tiring. So it looks like I'm not going to take all those pills. If I haven't done it in 3 hours, what are the odds? So I decide to take myself and my paranoia down to the donut shop. There are people there, strangers, people I know from the hospital, and the brown-shirted sweet girls behind the counter. It's a paranoid-free zone. The donut shop is. I don't know why, but it's safe there. No one here is in on the plot. So I get my medium, double cream, triple sugar, and I sit in the corner facing the door. And I'm beginning to calm down, listening to the rhythm of the place, watching the girls take orders and dumping the grounds, replacing the filters and filling little bags with donuts, and my nose in my cup, sniffing the vapors, watching carefully, and it feels almost warm, almost friendly. And when the brown-haired girl with the Susan name tag asks if I'd like a refill, it's like a caress. It's like intimacy. Would you like a refill? And I'm thinking about this. Would I like a refill? I'm stuck on that word, refill. I'm savoring it. I'm rolling it around on the back of my tongue. And I'm looking at the brown-haired girl in the Susan name tag, and I'm looking at my cup. And I can't decide. I can't decide how she means refill. I can't decide this. I want to decide. I want to look her straight in the name tag and say, yes, please. But I'm overwhelmed by love or one of its reasonable facsimiles, and I start to hum. Like a wind-up top, like the one I had as a kid. You pump the top and it spins and it hums, that kind of humming. Susan doesn't seem to mind too much, but while I've been concentrating on the refill and the Susan name tag, 2 cops have come in. for their medium regulars and baggie of donuts to go, and they take an interest in me. This is understandable. I'm sure I look a little unkempt, as it were, and my impersonation of a musical top is probably a tip-off. They are paid to notice these things. This is their job. I understand this. They're not bad people. They don't treat me badly. One of them walks over while the other gets the coffees. He walks the cop walk over. You know, the one, it is slow. It is deliberate. It is not contested. And he says, "Sir, perhaps you should come outside with us." I am reluctant to give up my intimate moment with Susan, but this is an invitation one does not refuse. So I leave my coffee, and I abandon Susan, and I slink out the glass doors. One cop in front, one cop behind. The backseat of a police cruiser is not a good place to be paranoid. This is not a paranoid-free zone. Donut shop, yes. Cruiser, no. The doors won't open from the inside. Your knees are all crammed up around your ears, and the two cops are sitting in the front eating their donuts and deciding my life and my fate. And I'm guilty. I know I'm guilty. I'm guilty of possessing, for purposes of masturbation, a good 2-foot pile of pornographic magazines, which I took around and dumped in public garbage cans 22 years ago, but I'm guilty. They could have been traced. I'm guilty of walking out without paying for my coffee. Oh, I'm guilty. One cop favors dropping me off around the corner. The other cop's telling him, "Hey, we're not busy, why not take him to emergency?" The first cop is saying, "We could get a call any minute, and you know how it takes such a long goddamn time to get anybody seen at the hospital." The second cop is saying, "Hey, we get a call, we drop him, otherwise, what the hell? You know he needs his chemicals adjusted." At this point, I gotta admit, I go a little awry. I slip a cog. I go off track. My bandwidth overloads. My plugins unplug. The voices are getting louder and louder, and I'm saying to them, I'm carrying on a conversation, and I'm trying to drown them with my hum at the same time. No, I did not. No, I did not do that. So it is not surprising that the second cop's wisdom prevails, and they, in due course, drive me to the McMaster campus, the emergency room of the Shadok McMaster Division of the Hamilton Health Sciences Corp. Not Mercy Hospital anymore, but in this year of our Lord, 2011, a division of a corporation. Fuel for anyone's paranoia. Have you ever been escorted into the emergency of a big city hospital by 2 cops? This is like farting on your way into a posh restaurant. The heads in the waiting room turn as one to look. But we jump the queue, we go right in. The waiting room people are resentful because they have been waiting for hours with their swollen eyes, the broken fingers, cuts and bruises, aches and pains. But I am escorted right past them into the Dante Alighieri room. Mindbots swarm and flutter. Apparati of torture are wheeled here and there. Groups huddle in despair. Electronic whistling fills the air. Telephones ring. Monitors flicker and dance. Metal poles string bags of liquid, and small, infernal machines with microchips go beep, beep, beep. And I must whistle up a wind to sweep away this drumheller madness, this overwhelming whir and pizzle of people and paper and machines and trolleys and curtains. So here it is, and I'm standing right in the middle of it, whistling up a wind, getting louder and louder, and they take me to a bubble room, a rubber room, and it's quieter here. My brain settles down. And I wait. And I wait. And I wait. I contemplate the ceiling light. I explore the walls for blemishes. And I check the corners for cameras. Finally, Dr. Mengelev and Nurse Jane enter my room. He examines my blood pressure, my pulse, my eyes, my chest, my throat, a routine I can grasp. And then Dr. Mengelev asks me some questions, and I answer very slowly. I find I must speak slowly. I must follow the manufacturing process of my words. I must perform quality assurance on each and every sub-assembly system. This is not McDonald's. My words don't just pop out on the counter, pre-cooked, preheated. Each is selected from a conveyor belt in my medulla oblongata and then vetted in the left temporal, wrapped, shaped, compared before being shunted to my mouth where my tongue can snag it and hold it and form it. And as I speak each word, I can hear it being spoken. And even after each word is out of the bag, has passed twixt teeth and lips, that QA part of my brain must scope it for potential recall. All words spoken between 8:25 p.m. August 13th, 2000 and 9:06 p.m. the same day are subject to factory recall. And this all takes time. Are you suicidal? No. Do you hear voices? Not at this time. When were you last in hospital? I don't answer this one. I know exactly where it is leading. Count backward from 100 by sevens. Who's the Prime Minister? Explain a stitch in time saves 9. Do you have a place to sleep tonight? They found my old chart by now, And they have learned that with a place to sleep, a donut, and a coffee, and a major tranquilizer coursing through my veins, I can be returned to citizenship. I can be rendered docile. I will not climb a clock tower. I will not shoot a president. I will not jump in front of a subway. I will not provoke a young cop into shooting me on the back of a bus. I will not live in the woods and send bombs by mail. And they can avoid the annoying and protracted hassle of finding me a bed in a psychiatric hospital. Nurse Jane comes back with a needle and asks me to drop my pants. I could protest. I could question this, but I have learned to give myself over to the corporation if I want to continue on my journey. So I drop my pants, flip on my stomach, my butt to the sky, and her large dripping syringe enters my bony ass and floods the right cheek with zines and zines. She drops the needle into a box and strips off her latex gloves and says, "You can go home in a few minutes. So lie down, relax, I'll come back and check on you." I pull on my pants, put on my shoes, and leave right away. They won't follow me now. They have the chemicals in me. The cops are long gone, and it'll be an hour or more before someone says, "Hey, where's that guy? Supposed to be in 11. It is dark now. The lonely streetlight shelters me from the sky. It's not cold, but I am cold and growing hungry. I walk away from the hospital, head down along the sidewalk, across the street. I think I'm heading for the Mission, the soup kitchen, the Sally Ann. There are conversations on both sides of me now, weaving in and out. News reports, gossip, discussions of my relative worth and my unfulfilled sexuality. The halogen lamps burn my eyes, and I squint against the glare. 10, 15 minutes into my journey, I think I can feel the cobweb of zines and zines weaving through my capillaries, climbing from my buttocks to my arms, and then they're flowing from my buttocks to my legs. Maybe I'm imagining this, so I walk on, tilted slightly. As I cross another street, I see I am losing my rhythm. My left leg moves, and then my right, and then my right arm, and then my left, independently, like I am no longer networked. The LAN is down. The server cannot be accessed. My arms hang, and I stop, and I start, and stop again. I try the Modicate shuffle, but I am losing my body. It has developed a will of its own. My arms hang, and I circle, and I stumble, and my neck twists up to make me look through the lamps and the black leaves to the stars. Away from the street lamp, I am stopped completely and forced to my knees. My arms dangle uselessly, my face wet with tears, facing the corner of the Milky Way. I slide onto my side and then roll off the sidewalk onto my back in a shallow ditch. The cobweb of zines and zines has reached and stiffened each muscle. They are held exactly where gravity wants them to be. Where gravity wants me to be. The summer evening dew settles on my face as I lie unblinking, paralyzed in a ditch at the side of the road, looking up through the gravity of a very large planet to the edge of the universe. I'm living in those seconds between asleep and awake, when you fight upward through the ocean murk, dragging your reluctant body behind you into the finally terrifying releasing moment of consciousness. But those seconds are dragging their feet. Consciousness and control of my body does not arrive. The rooster does not crow. Terror envelops me like a cold, wet blanket. I, the I of me, am trapped behind the eyes of me. The I of me can find no ladder, can find no shelter, can find no safety. The I of me wants its mother. The I of me screams silently while the voices blossom, invade, while the voices scream invective in my head, and the stars become objects of pity. When I was 12, we went to visit my Aunt Doreen at the hospital. My father, my mother, my brother, myself. The nurse told my mother that the children could not visit. This was all right with me. Aunt Doreen was not my favorite aunt. Tall, skinny, always smoking, faraway look in her eye. But I did appreciate the fact that she didn't touch us the way our other aunts did, the way aunts are programmed to ooh and coo and hug and squeeze and ruffle hair and plant sloppy wet ones aimed for the lips, but at the last second diverted to the cheek. She would ask how we were doing in school, and that was that. She didn't even mind not getting an answer. We were allowed to wait on the hospital lawn after promising to stay at the picnic table and not for a moment leaving it, and not ever talk to any stranger. They wouldn't be long. We had our comic books to read. The grass was dry. The old trees moved in the August breeze. The sun danced shadows on our cedar table. And this hospital, this old building made of brick, 4 huge stories high, had mesh and bars on all its small, dark windows. And from those windows came cackling, and then loud screams and moans. Not screams of pain and torture, and not the laughter of mirth, but periodic announcements, notices, serving of summons. Attention, attention, we are here. We are here. We never talked of Aunt Doreen again until she died in that hospital a few years later. We had a small family funeral, and I heard them talking about how Doreen had been so much in personality like her great-uncle Frank, who lived with his mother until he was 45 and never, ever bathed. Never once took a bath or a shower. I would think about great-uncle Frank when I began my long showers, when I found I couldn't leave the shower until I'd applied soap and water to a carefully selected list of body parts in a very precise order. And even then, count to 3 before turning off the tap, touching it with both right and left hands. Balance and cleanliness were very important. It was my mother who said cleanliness was next to godliness, but I suspected it was balance that got one into heaven. Symmetry, predictability, something over here, the same over there. And at 17 and then 18, there seemed to be less and less balance in my life.
Your world is different than mine. Your world is different than mine. That's okay. I love you anyway. Your world is different than mine.
So here it starts. I'm in my late teens. The future, as I am so often reminded, is before me. But those things that my friends and classmates did with such ease became impossible for me. How does one explain what one does not understand? I am troubled by my erections, my stubbies, my woodies, hard-ons, and by the new dark hair on my chest and under my arms. I'm troubled by my posture, by my voice. I am troubled by the way people look at me. I'm troubled by my walk, by my awkwardness. I would rather stay in bed. I'm at the edge of a group of boys and girls, the same human beings with whom I sat in class, with whom I went to parties, with whom I played children's games. But now when they speak and laugh and look and posture and talk like, wow, way cool, and touch one another, now they are working out this gigantic puzzle, system, an organization. Who has value? Who wears what? Who likes whom? When do we listen to our fathers? Do we even have mothers? Where's the money? Who's in? Who's out? Who's on top? What's funny? What isn't? What's goofy? What's cool? And who gets to engage in sexual congress with whom? But I don't get it. I'm trying, man. I am trying to read the clues. I'm trying to decipher the code, but I am a fool without humor. I am at best a parody. I find the nights are kinder than the days. I stay up all night. The night is mine. I listen to music, I read, I fill my notebook with my thoughts. In the morning, I tell my mother I'm too sick to go to school, and she believes me. I'm living the life of a mole. I don't tell my mother what's really happening. Don't be silly, she'd say. You're just being too sensitive.
It's okay, you love me anyway. My world is different than yours.
So I don't tell my mother that when I do go to school, they are watching me. At the locker, in the corridor, even in the classroom, where I sit at the back with my eyes glued to the desk. But the corridor is worse. They stand in small groups and they wait for me to walk by. And then the heads swivel and the giggles rush to their lips, and then they're all looking at me, and then they're laughing and talking to one another about me. At first, I can't make out what they're saying. You know, mutters, whispers, giggles, smiles, chuckles. And then I know that they're commenting on my walk, my clothes, my posture. And I know that I know they think I'm strange, stupid, a loser. I know they think I'm queer. I can hear them thinking. The words come into my head. They leap the gulf between us and they enter my brain. He's such a goofball. What a queer, total loser. At night the words come again, but now in a voice like an airport announcer. I strain to make them out. Inside my head, I have the Jerome Robbins Antichrist set of 5 motivational tapes in continuous loop. The rants of invective, the personal declarations of stupidity, uncoolness, queerness, the instructions to act upon my weakest thoughts come in waves, whispers, and tsunamis as the siblings in my brain fight over the volume control. The brain is not keen on chaos theory. The brain wants simple explanations. The brain wants symmetry. The brain wants predictability. The brain wants organization. The brain wants what the brain wants. So deep into the night, I search for answers to the chaos in my brain, for ways to link myself to love and hate, power, control, grief and death and sex, for ways to organize the essence of the universe. I scrawl out pyramids of numbers, of words. Hate has 4 letters in it. Love has 4 letters in it, and there are 4 blue cars parked on my street. If I wear only blue, the balance may return. If I keep a packet of sugar in my left pocket and a packet of peanuts in my right, if I retrace my steps walking backwards, if I don't speak my thoughts, a madness descends in the very act of repelling madness. At this point, I'm talking to no one but my mother. I've become a shadow on the wall, a mole of higher purpose, a stranger to myself. I am at ease only when I can re-enter my childhood. My mother, who knows this, who intuitively knows this, brings me soup and crackers and talks of when I was very young. My father, he's very confused by this. He's angry at my mother. His oldest son has become an alien to him. He yells at me, and I rage back, and then turn away and hide. And then I talk to my mother. I tell her about the people watching me in the malls, at school, about the voice in my head. I tell her that I have concluded, tentatively, but based on the best evidence at hand, that I am the illegitimate son of Adolf Hitler. She goes quiet. There is grief in her eyes. She rummages around in her papers and locates a phone number, and the very next day, I find myself in the office of the psychiatrist who once looked after Aunt Doreen. He's old now, and sad, and tired, and though the thought that he once looked after Aunt Doreen is not much of a recommendation, I tell him almost everything. Almost. Because, like telling a dream, my words, my thoughts brought forth to describe what I have experienced are not up to the job. The felt certainty is not the same as the spoken certainty. I go blank. My brain has been plucked dry, but he has heard enough. He tells my mother to take me to the hospital.
Our worlds together is ours. Our worlds together is ours. That's okay to love that way. Our worlds together is ours.
I don't think about this as being the hospital in which my Aunt Doreen died. There are procedures to follow, forms to be signed, belongings to be cataloged, examinations to be made. These distract me from my situation. I'm shown a bed in a small dormitory, and then I'm left alone. I wander into a common area, and there's a man hunkered down, talking to himself. As I walk by, he tells the floor that he has killed someone today. A young woman on the payphone in the corner starts screaming. And the nurses come, and they wrestle her to the ground and inject her, carry her away. The young man turns to me, to me, looking for answers. He's visiting. That's his wife. She just had a baby, and now she's in here. And he's got a job, he's got a brand new baby. His wife's gone strange, different, sick, turned bad on him. And what is he to do? Help me make sense of this, he shouts at me. I turn away and I walk the length of the corridor to the door at the end, the door separating the inside from the outside. I press my face against the small glass panel. I can see outside. But I am inside. I start to think about where I am and what this place is and how very inside it is, how separated from the world beyond. And this small pane of glass, my only portal to the oxygen of reality. I have been cast from shore, and the currents are against me. And now I start to scream and howl, not because I'm frightened, Not because I'm alone and terrified, which is all true, but because a switch is flipped in my head. A power surge, a brain spasm, and suddenly I know an electrifying truth. I know this with the clarity of lightning. I am the incarnation of God. But I don't want to be God. I don't want the responsibility. I don't know how to be Walter James Cross, let alone God, who one would suspect is a much more complicated being than Walter James Cross. I don't want to bring down judgments. I don't want to think thoughts and have them happen. I don't want to speak and become scripture. But it is happening to me, and I am shouting, and I'm howling, and I am saying, no, 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 no! The nurses come, and they lead me away. They take me to the dormitory and put me on the bed. They ask me to roll on my stomach. They bring in a needle. And they inject my buttock, a little alcohol wipe and stick. And then they exit and leave behind one man, an orderly. Lie on your back, he says. Calm down, relax. Take it easy. I'm still howling, maybe crying now. He says, take it easy. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. He doesn't touch me. He has the wit and the sensibility to not touch me. He lies himself down on the bed next to mine, his hands behind his head. Lie like this, he says. And I do. And now, I know, at least for this moment, at least for this lap, I'm not alone in my journey. I stop howling, and I sleep. The years have slipped by since that first night. I spent weeks and months in that hospital, that factory of compromise. I've lived in boarding homes and hostels. I've attended rehab programs and played children's games. I have swallowed pills. I have received injections. I sometimes think of myself as a bipedal pharmaceutical experiment. Food, oxygen, pills. The zines and zymes. I've had bad reactions. One drug, swallowed, stomach juices added, expanded into my own personal belly dancer, causing my torso to writhe and gyrate obscenely. Another flung my eyes to the heavens. And a third caused my legs to twitch like a parson in a whorehouse. Small wonder why I promised to take these pills and didn't. Small wonder why I often preferred the mists of madness to the admonitions of the plastic priests in what is called, in all seriousness, the mental health system. I dream of when I was 17, when I was a boy and there were other boys, when I was a boy and there were girls, when I was a boy and there was one girl. If I don't take my pills, I can call up my voices. They're less rancorous, more decorous now. They've learned to accept me as I am. They seldom criticize. They often talk among themselves. And I can just, pretend that all is right with the world, and I'm sitting by a fire, lost in thought, while waves of family conversation spill from the hearth. But, I know that unleashed, unfettered, left to run loose in my sparse chicken pen of a brain, the voices will demand more of me until they are once again shrieking and screaming all manner of vile accusations, till I am thrust into the matrix, linked to the matrix of all things holy, and that I will, against will, while toe-clinging to the simple folds of what small humanity is left to me, that once again, I will become God. And being God ain't all it's cracked up to be. For one thing, nobody listens. For another, it brings about the trip. The trip to the emergency room, and from the emergency room in 4-point leathers on a gurney to the hospital on the hill, the Butterscotch Palace. In through its large main doors, down its dismal corridors, large key, heavy door opens into a ward, down another hallway, to a bubble room where you are ceremoniously left on a damp floor mattress, your ass so filled with zines and zines that when the nurses leave and thunk the door behind them, you are left with nothing to ride but waves of nausea. Months later, I awaken, cheek flattened in my drool, and watch the small black ants, safari chain, along the terrazzo floor between the spill of orange juice and the crack in the wall. Their movement, their industry is mildly comforting. I've lived on the streets. I've lived in the hotels you pass on your way to Chinese restaurants that advertise in faded paint above the door, rooms by the day or week. I walk a great deal. I walk to the Bay, and then to the East End, and then back again. You know me, in my brown raincoat, hem and collar soiled, right pocket torn. You wonder why I so determinedly head east and then stop and retrace my steps and stop again and then stand still. And then you see me muttering to myself and you say, oh, I'm a madman, and you avert your eyes. My father died, and my mother turned to religion. My younger brother hesitates when he's asked by chance if he has any brothers or sisters, but I know he puts small amounts of money in my bank account. When he offers, I refuse. He knows I will refuse. I know I must refuse, but he does it without telling me. And I accept. This is our small secret. My friend, Jim West, he killed himself 20 years ago today. They told him that he had schizophrenia and he'd have to take pills. What do I need pills for, he said, when I am in touch with the universe? Well, being in touch with the universe is much like being God. Not all it's cracked up to be. Jim tuned into the cosmic truth. Jim was wireless before it became fashionable. But Jim must not have liked what God's broadcasters were telling him, because he jumped out the window of the 20th floor on a bright, sunny day. Or maybe he was just lonely. Or, I consider the Jim West option on a regular basis. But I don't have his courage. Or my dreams are smaller. Or there's always just enough hope. Mary at the clinic. Susan at the donut shop. So I'm lying in that ditch, looking up through the leaves to the stars. My eyes won't blink. Mosquito could land right on my eyeball. A snake could crawl up my pants. The voices have been subdued by the zines and zines, but they rage in their cage at the back of my head. And my ears hum alien arias to fill my void. This is a terror that seeks reasons, that seeks answers, that seeks explanation. This is a terror that welcomes paranoia. A car is coming slowly. I can't move to look, but it stops a few feet away. There's a long moment before a door opens and closes. And then another long moment before a face appears above mine. It's a man, maybe 40 or 50. Are you all right? He asks, in a voice that hopes the answer will be, yeah, sure, but knowing that a man lying in a ditch at the side of the road watching the stars cannot be all right. I can't move, I tell him, and I find my tongue is working, and my lips and my articulation's not too bad. Oh, he says, taking this in. I think it's a drug reaction, I tell him. His face leaves my vision as he straightens to consider this. A drug they gave me at the hospital, I add. So you can't move at all, he says, coming back into sight. I seem to be all in spasm, I tell him. He reaches under my shoulders and he pulls me up into a sitting position. And I find, with a little help, I can stand. I walk like a tin man on his arm to his car, and he settles me in the passenger seat. I'll drive you back to the hospital, he says, getting in the driver's side. No, I tell him, I have pills in my room that will help this. If you could just get me to my room. I'm not too keen on hospitals either, he says. There's a long silence while we drive. I've told him where I live. He just hasn't found a way of asking his question yet. So I tell him, I have schizophrenia, I say. Oh, he says, my wife's cousin's daughter. He helps me to my room. He asks if I'll be all right, no longer in that ditch. And I tell him, my name is Walter, and he says his is Peter, and then he says good night, and then he leaves. I swallow the tiny tablet of Cogentin and lie on my bed. The voices have been quiet since Peter found me. Even they can't compete with the few rare moments of humanity the world allots me. I wait for the spasms to ease, the muscles to relax. I wait to sleep. I wait for the brand new day when I can bathe and eat and walk and visit Susan at the donut shop. My name is Walter James Cross, and I have schizophrenia.
Your world is different than mine. Your world is different than mine. That's okay. I love you anyway. Your world is different than mine. My world is different than yours. My world is different than yours. That's okay. You love me anyway. My world is different than yours. Our worlds together is ours. Our worlds together is ours. And that's okay to love that way. Our